I felt the first laugh cut into me before I even turned around. It started with her, my wife, leaning forward at the dinner table, raising her wine glass, her smile sharp as a blade. "He works a blue-collar job," she announced loudly enough for her voice to echo beneath the chandeliers. "You know, real manual labor." The groom's father let out a loud laugh. 200 guests followed with smirks, glances, and whispers. A wave of heat crept up my spine, but my face stayed still. I had spent years mastering stillness. Then the father slapped my shoulder. "Hell, I didn't know they still let guys like you into places like this." More laughter. My wife didn't defend me. She joined them. I said nothing. I simply reached into my pocket, unlocked my phone, and slid it across the table to the groom. "One email," I whispered. He read it. His smile disappeared. His hand tightened on the tablecloth. Then, quietly and urgently, he grabbed his father's arm. "Dad, his blue-collar job. He owns the company you work for." Silence spread across the room like spilled ink. And that was only the beginning. I didn't always live behind walls of restraint. There was a time when my wife, Emma, looked at me the way people look at something warm, something safe. We met when she was tending bar at a dingy little tavern where I was negotiating a contract. She laughed at my jokes, asked questions about my work, and listened like she genuinely cared. Back then, I kept quiet about what I owned. I like to learn who people are without the noise of money surrounding us. She liked that I worked with my hands. Or at least, she claimed she did. Her family welcomed me at first, the humble, grounded guy, the novelty. I mistook their condescension for charm. For a while, she and I were good. Warm mornings. Easy nights. A rhythm I trusted. That trust would later become the knife. The change wasn't loud. It never is. It began with her tone, sharper, colder. Comparisons slipped into conversations. Jokes about real professionals that didn't land like jokes. Then came the secrecy. Her phone angled away from me. Her laughter in the hallway, soft, private, not meant for my ears. She blamed work stress. I blamed nothing. I simply watched. Her family didn't help. They encouraged the distance. Small nudges. Quiet insults. "You could have married someone with ambition," her sister once whispered, not knowing I was standing behind the door. I didn't confront her. I collected moments like evidence. Suspicion is quiet. So was I. The truth arrived on a night thick with rain. She came home late, hair perfect, perfume unfamiliar, smile forced. But it was her laptop that exposed everything. She forgot to close her messages. I didn't snoop. I simply sat down as the notifications blinked like warning lights. I read enough. Her lover's name. Their plans. Her complaints about me. How her family believed she deserved someone better. The world didn't spin. It froze. My hands went numb. My chest burned cold, but my thoughts became razor sharp. I wasn't losing her. I was shedding her. Pain turned into purpose. Emotion drained out of me until only calculation remained. I whispered one thing to the empty room. "Thank you for making this simple." Revenge isn't rage. Revenge is order. Over the following months, I built a quiet architecture of consequences. First, I tightened the structure of my company. Assets shifted. Authority consolidated. Financial strings pulled firmly into my hands alone. She never knew how much of our life I funded. How much of her lifestyle rested on my accounts. She assumed my work was small. Blue collar. Forgettable. Good. Underestimation is the strongest currency. Next, I documented everything, every message, every expense, every lie. Clean. Legal. Impeccable. I changed lawyers, rewrote contracts, moved properties, and isolated shared accounts until they were little more than decorative numbers on a screen. Then came the final piece. The email. One message outlining the company restructuring, her affair partner's department dissolved, positions merged, and her father-in-law's role placed under direct evaluation by me. Not fired. Just accountable. I scheduled the email to send on the morning of her sister's wedding. Let the universe handle the staging. So when she mocked me, loudly, publicly, intentionally, she only triggered the final movement of a symphony that had already been composed. The groom finished reading the email, his face pale as ash. His father snatched the phone, his eyes scanning the screen, shifting from arrogance to terror in seconds. I didn't know, he stammered. No, I interrupted softly. You didn't. Emma's face drained of color. What? What is this? I turned to her slowly, calm as winter. Your definition of a blue-collar job, I said, was always small. Mine wasn't. She reached toward me. I stepped back. The groom stood, his voice shaking. Dad, that division merge, it puts your position directly under him. Gasps and whispers rippled through the room. The silence split the crowd. Her lover approached, panicked and sweating. He tried to speak. I didn't even look at him. He already knew his department was gone. He understood that every doorway that once opened for him was about to close. And Emma. She finally understood the cost of choosing mockery over loyalty. I gave her nothing. No shouting. No dramatic exit. Just the cold truth. You mistook quiet for weakness. Then I walked out. The divorce was clean. She fought briefly, but the documentation ended the battle before it could truly begin. She kept her clothes, her car, her name. Everything built from my years of work returned to my side of the ledger. I rebuilt my life in silence. Not alone. Just undisturbed. Sometimes I drive past the old tavern where we first met. The lights seem dimmer now. Or maybe I'm simply seeing clearly for the first time. Everything ends. Everything reveals itself. And as for Emma, the last message she ever sent me said only, I didn't know who you really were. I never replied. Because she had finally said something true. And the truth didn't need an answer.